These are your evening headlines for October 15th, 2025, right here on BYU-Idaho Radio. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Jill Clary. BYU-Idaho's Choirfest is this Saturday night, featuring performances by BYU-Idaho singing groups, including Collegiate Singers and Vocal Union.
Well, this year we have 7 choirs and over 500 singers, so it's the biggest event we've had in quite a while. You'll hear a couple of songs from each choir, and it's a chance to hear the men's chorus, the women's chorus, the collegiate singers. The vocal union is continuing this year. We are keeping the choir and moving it into a little bit of a contemporary a cappella.
Randall Kempton, a BYU-Idaho Music Department faculty member, lists some of the new and exciting songs the groups will perform.
We'll be singing some brand new spirituals, including This Little Light of Mine, which we performed in devotional, and another one that's similar to it that will be a surprise. And then we'll be doing a little bit of Jacob Collier's music, a fantastic British musician who's quite popular right now. The vocal union is hoping to do a couple of new contemporary a cappella things, possibly including a medley from the upcoming Wicked movie.
While it's common and convenient these days to listen to concerts online, Kempton encourages people to attend this concert in person for an enriching experience.
Coming to live concerts is something that's been hard for people to do lately, especially since COVID. But it's even more now so easy to just listen online. But there's something different about coming into the hall and hearing all of that sound just surrounding you and sort of penetrating you and going through the air around you and having that experience with a lot of people.
Kempton encourages students of any major to try out for choir. If you are interested in joining one of the choirs, auditions are held at the beginning of every semester. Choirfest will take place on Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Barris Concert Hall in the Eliza R. Snow Building. Tickets are $5 for students or $8 for the general public. Tickets are available online at tickets.byui.edu. For BYU-Idaho Radio, I'm Jill Clary. You may have seen or at least heard of the hit TV show The Amazing Race, but what would you think if someone told you The Amazing Race was coming to Rexburg? Andrew Graham Porter and Cameron Pascal are the event organizers of the race, which will be put on primarily at the Escape Straw Maze in St. Anthony.
I got really bored. So I started twiddling my thumbs and I came with this idea of what could I do to mess with some of my friends? And I just started thinking, what would be the most fun? And I love the show, The Amazing Race. So I got 16 of my closest friends, put them in teams of 2, and then came up with, how long was it, Cam? 5-6 hours of challenges and clues for them to run through. They got tortured, but it was the most fun to watch, and I think everyone's had good experience once they step back a little bit.
It may be fun to watch from the perspective of the event organizer or a spectator, but sometimes not so much for those actually in the race.
Something that he should say is that he introduced it as a scavenger hunt. So all of us had this big misconception on what we were actually getting into. And then when we actually got into it, we were like, oh, okay, so this is going to be 5 hours of sprinting around, using our brains. And it was pretty brutal, but it was so fun, super hard.
Despite how much fun the race was last year, Graham Porter says this year will be even better.
This one's going to be even more fun because we're having spectators in it. So this year, we're going to have it end at the Escape Straw Maze. But they've got a massive venue with a petting zoo, food trucks, a bunch of yard games and things like that. So the contestants will finish the race there. And so you can come and watch them finish, and you can do some of the challenges that they've done. So we're inviting everybody that wants to come, and you'll get to watch people just have the worst day of their life.
There is a $10 entry fee to watch the race at the Straw Maze. With a ticket, attendees will also receive ice cream and cookies from Iceberg and Twisted Sugar, coupons from local businesses, and be able to participate in some of the same challenges as the participants as a type of audition for next year's race. Stories will also be posted throughout the day to keep spectators updated throughout the race on the event's Instagram page at AGP Events. Doors open to view the race at 7 p.m. This Saturday, the Idaho Falls Symphony will open its season with a special event. Not only is this the 15th and final season with music director Thomas Heuser, but the concert will feature a special video commissioned to play during Jennifer Higdon's All Things Majestic, which was written for the Grand Teton Music Festival. Outdoor journalist Chris Milgate is the one behind the film. She says Carrie Athey, the executive director of Symphony, reached out to her with an idea.
And her idea was to put visuals to the symphony And I said, what I think is it's fantastic.
Milgate owns Tightline Media and specializes in outdoor videos and documentaries. She won an Emmy for her documentary called On Grizzly Ground about grizzly bears in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. Milgate says putting this project together gave her a chance to go through 20 years worth of footage and edit the 20-minute piece like she's never done before, matching it to music, stretching new editing muscles.
I have been stretching new muscles, and I've really found it exciting and rewarding and enjoyable, and I'm just thankful for the privilege to have this project come up when it did, right on the eve of my 20th anniversary, so that I had the opportunity to look at everything again. It really makes you reflective when you have an opportunity to look back on 20 years of work.
She says Hoyser watched her cut of the video and loved it. The symphony will also play Freddie Groffe's iconic Grand Canyon Suite and Aaron Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man. Milgate says she hopes those in attendance walk away with a renewed appreciation of the outdoors we have right here.
I hope people leave this concert knowing that our natural resources are what sustain us, and they are within a finger's reach from our front door.
The concert is the Symphony's Pink Ribbon Concert, and you can get your tickets online at ifsymphony.org. It's happening Saturday night at 7:30 at the Frontier Center for the Performing Arts in Idaho Falls. You can also show up at 6:30 to go inside the music with Thomas Hoyser. Milgate will also have her books for sale at the event, with 10% of the proceeds going to the Symphony. You can also listen to our interview with Milgate on our podcast feed. Just follow BYU-Idaho Radio on your favorite podcast app. These have been your BYU-Idaho Radio evening headlines for October 15th, 2025. Thanks for tuning in. More news, interviews, and great content are available on our podcast feed. Search for BYU-Idaho Radio on your favorite podcast apps. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and more. For BYU-Idaho Radio, I'm Jill Clary.